everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bearing It All. My name is Ugochi, and I'm excited to be your host. Okay, so today I'm going to be smiling a lot, maybe a little harder, because I have with me as my guest today, Kenneth Okori, my husband. Hi, husband.
Hello.
Hello, and
Hello,
welcome. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me on your show today.
Are you okay?
Yes, I am. I've been watching it from my side. It's good to sit down and
just be the guest, right?
I'm being the guest, yes.
Well, welcome. It means a lot to me that you're here. Welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. Please tell us a little about yourself. Well, tell the viewers a little about yourself.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Kenneth Chinedu Korea. I'm the wonderful husband, and we've been married in the last 8 years and 9 months now, isn't it?
This is the first time you're actually getting it right.
yes. But there you go. It's one for the show. But personally, I work as a project planner. I've lived in Aberdeen in the last 13 years. Oh my God, time flies. And indeed, Aberdeen, I love it here. It's a small city. I'm not a big fan of big cities anyways. It's in a nice neighborhood, and I have friends, I have colleagues, and a community here really. So yes, I'm comfortable. And as a family, we both have 2 kids together, 2 boys actually, and Emmanuel, who is almost 8, and Joshua, who turns 5 next month.
You know what? This is the first time my husband is actually getting it right. Okay, this is so good. Remember, this is Bearing It All, a place for honest conversation. And today, my husband is going to be sharing some of the struggles that he went through trying to find me. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, back to you, Mr. Kenneth Okori, my husband for life. Okay. So, in the area of finding your life partner, and were there struggles that you experienced trying to find your life partner?
Yes, of course. Generally, I suppose people will always have different journeys to this particular topic. In my own personal circumstances, as you know, I had a relationship of 5 years prior to our meeting really, and which broke down. And I suppose then that looking back, it was one of the most challenging periods in my life, and the loss of that relationship, which was the only one I had at the time, kind of blew me away. I went into this period of mental block really. I didn't want to do any relationships or anything like that. In fact, it took another 2.5 years for me and this person to sit down and actually talk about what happened. And that was very, very healing for me, because I was able to see reality from her point of view, and she was able to see reality from my point of view. And at the end of it all, we prayed for each other, and because a lot had happened, we moved on with our lives. But then personally, for me, moving on meant finding another. Here comes the challenge. At that time, I actually didn't know where to start. I had friends who suggested people to me. I had family who were really pushing hard for me to get married. I had relatives that we suggested. Everybody's asking what's going on. And when I look at my friends, at that time, a number of them were already married. So there was that added pressure from looking at my friends. So it was difficult. And then trying to move on from that relationship, I found very tricky. So I had a number of people that I engaged from all of these contacts, talking to people I proposed to. Wow. I had a number of no's. And there were people that were almost a yes, but it was a no from me as well. So I think the big thing for me, going back from my experience, was how do I get it right this time? Because one of the key things that happened to me was I kept asking God, how did I spend all that time in that relationship and this person is not my wife? I didn't want to go through that experience again, and I wouldn't wish that experience for anyone. So what helped me most was when I was in Aberdeen at the time, and Pastor Chris, when they were pastor, and he was, God bless him, it was very fantastic in supporting me. We had the periodic sessions where we talked, and I had a very few friends that were already married, and I shared my constant challenges with them, and they told me their own stories as well. And because of that, that helped me understand that these things can happen. And then I think in that period, I began to understand that I also need to work on my own expectation. I needed to work on myself. So that was it really, until I, of course, came to Nigeria for my brother's wedding. That's where we met for the very first time. And I think from the crowd I saw you, and and I was interested, and of course I went about asking questions, and here we are. But then looking back, there were other people too. I suppose one of the things that happened to me was, because I was praying a lot, I was also taking actions. I remember a particular situation where I actually thought that this is the person. And one night I decided, well, I'm going to propose to this person, and I knelt down and said, God, here is me, tomorrow I'm going. If you don't say anything tomorrow, I'll make my proposal. Now I remember going on in the night, I had a dream, and over time I know that I normally have, God speaks to me via dreams, and that same night I had a dream, and in that dream, this person told me that a number of people have been asking for her hand in marriage, but unfortunately she's already engaged. Now incidentally, we had appointment the next day. The next day I got to her flat, and one of the things she said to me, oh, just broken, I actually called you just so to let you know that I'm getting married. And this was me coming to propose. On the day that I was coming to propose, I was shocked, but I didn't realize that, oh, God was working all the time, that all the no's were coming. God was there all the time. But to be honest with you, it didn't feel like God was there. Some days I was like, God, okay, so you tell me it's not this person, then who is he going to be? I'm tired of waiting, I just need to move on, but then God did not allow me move on. I think part of the thing is, I believe, looking back, is that some of the no's came as a result of an answer to God's prayer. Even though to me at the time, it didn't feel that is the case. But looking back over the years and from the experience of this journey with yourself, and I can see that actually God's hand has always been in it. That I suppose when I look back, and people have asked me over time, what did I think was the problem with me? I'm not a very outspoken person. I'm not a going out type either. And you would take the grace of God to live with me, really. So
tell me about it.
If you're a lady, I'm not the person that will really stand out for you, possibly. And that's it. And there will be people in my category that will fall into my bracket. It will take people who maybe have heard from God to say maybe this is the right person, even though I don't look like the most outstanding person from the crowd. And that's it really. And that's how we met. Long story short, we prayed about it, just this whole thing, and
we're here.
And we're
Almost
here.
9 years.
Almost 9 years. Yes.
Sorry, before we move on, there was something you said. You said you prayed a lot. You prayed a lot, even the times you were getting the no and the heartbreak and all that. You prayed a lot. The question there is, were you even listening? Because you prayed a lot, Would you say you listened, as in you were listening to even hear what God was saying?
I wouldn't say that 100% because I was desperate. I just wanted God to approve this person just so that we can get on with it, quite frankly. But then if I had listened well and hard, I probably wouldn't have gone through the steps that I went to. And I suppose the most important thing is being able to develop your relationship, so for you to understand when God is speaking to you and how God speaks to you. All right. It took me time to find that balance, and that's where Pastor Chris Bentley came in. You know, we went through quite a number of counseling sections, and for him to explain how these things work, and it did help me. And I suppose Pastor Chris kept telling me to calm down. You know, and coming down in that circumstance, I can tell you it's tricky. You know, I tried to, but I couldn't. I struggled. I just thank God that God didn't let me make more mistakes and more heartbreaks. I suppose it's something that, looking back, I just thank God for it.
I love something that you said there. You said, you know, and that is you admitting to it. Is one thing to pray, and it's another thing to listen. You know, because if you had listened to God, you know, I'm sure all those, you know, all the traveling and, you know, trying to meet up with people and all that, would have been patient for this very wife of yours to just arrive, you know.
I know. Tell you
But yeah, it's one thing to pray, and I think we do that a lot. We pray, and you know, we just pray and then we rush off. You know, we're not even listening to what God is saying, and it's very important. You know, especially in this area of marriage, it's very important. You know, as you know, Christians, you know, when we pray, you know, about something, not just about life partner. When we pray, it's very important for us to also listen to what God is saying. And then the other thing that you said there is, you know, even though to you God, you know, was not answering, because what you wanted, you just wanted God to approve. You know, you bring this one, Lord, approve. You know, and you know, you're just getting a no. But then God was still answering you because you have asked Him to help you in this very area.
Absolutely.
And He won't let you to, you know, let you make mistake.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What a journey. And trust me, you know, the people listening, I'm sure they don't know the whole of it, because my husband, you went wrong. My husband was, in fact, he wanted to just, you know, get it done. You know, he just wanted to get married. He wanted, you know, even though you wanted the right person, you wanted to, you know, you wanted to just meet with your own, you know, flesh and flesh. You wanted to meet your own wife and be married. You know, you just wanted it done, but you were just doing it just in the wrong way. You were praying, you know, trusting God, but then you were just doing your own thing.
It's the art of a desperate man.
I know. You know, but then, you know, I didn't think before now. Well, before I met you, I didn't think that it was, you know, such a hard thing for the men. You know, I thought it's usually, you know, like the ladies, you know, who, you know, gets into, oh, I just want to get married, and I didn't know that, you know.
No, it's both men and women are affected all the same. They may be affected differently.
Yeah.
But certainly as a man, it wasn't easy. I tell you, a number of the ladies I approached said no to me. And I go back home and I look at myself in the mirror and I was like, what's wrong? I mean, why would you say no to me? You know? Then it was an answer to a prayer, because at the end of the day, I suppose this is something both the lady and the guy is making careful decision over who they spend the rest of their lives with. And they just want to make sure that they get it right as well. So I understood them saying no, because like I said before, it would take the grace of God for you to say no to me at that time. I have improved over time, I suppose, but in my communication especially, but I wasn't the person that communicates that well before. So it would have taken someone who actually have heard from God to say, this is the right person, to just believe that it will all go well, you know, if you see where I'm coming from. So it would take a leap of faith to have said no to me at that material time, because I mean, if you look at my life at that time, it wasn't that great anyway, you know. So, but there you
go. Okay, so do you have any advice for anyone who is struggling in this area? You know, someone who's struggling to find the right one, the right person. You know, someone who you know, is at that stage, you know, that he just wants to do this, she wants to do this, you know, I just want to get married, but I'm struggling to find the right person. What would you say to, you know, anyone listening and in this very situation just now?
I suppose my first advice will be calm down. It will happen, but you've got to calm down. It's not a race. I know about the time, the clock of our lives are ticking, but it's really not a race. Especially don't make it a race of self, the race that you've already set for yourself. I know people set targets. Yes, I did. You know, but certain things are not in your control. Just calm down. To all turn out well in the end. And the other thing is, do not put your life on hold because you are waiting for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. Do not put your life on hold. And just continue your life. This is career. Continue to pursue your career. Continue to pursue your business development ideas or whatever else that you want to do. Because I think by hindsight, I remember back then, I had the opportunity to get on the property ladder. But then I held back because I said, well, I don't know who I'm going to meet, whether I'm going to be in this country or whether I'm going to leave Aberdeen. So I did not follow through. And don't ask me what I used that money to do because it went anywhere. But the point being that I put that decision on hold. But by hindsight, if I had gotten into the property ladder, I would eventually have gotten married and probably would have moved into our home. And even if we decide to upgrade, change the type of house we live in, I would have paid the mortgage on that house for a number of years and used that as a deposit for the next house. So the advice is do not put your life on hold. And the other thing to say is be realistic, be humble enough to admit that you're not perfect as an individual, right? And be realistic of your expectations, the expectation you place for another human being that you want to spend your life with. You may not get 100% of what you are looking for in another person, but that's the way these things work. There has to be give and take in this matter. So make sure you're realistic with your expectations. And the last point I will make on that topic is, listen, just because somebody doesn't have all the money at the beginning, or maybe the person is not in the type of career you are looking for, if that is an issue for you, does not mean that that person will remain at that stage in his life or in her life forever. People will move on. So the very things that you consider must-haves, you need to objectively assess it and say, is this something I can live with? Is this something that I need to stick to? You know, that would be my advice, really. And of course, no matter what happens, pray and pray. If you can develop your relationship with God, it would help.
Okay, thank you so much. And the parts that I've been waiting, you know, to hear what you want to say. So now that you are in the marriage, how does it feel?
Wonderful, really. I suppose, yeah. I suppose, like, come on. I suppose is, I think it's one of the things I thank God for that. We are doing it together. All right, because I know you bring a lot to the table.
Thank you.
You know, and because I'm a little bit boring guy, but you bring the fun in the house.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, it's been wonderful. It's a journey. I think I'm still growing, as you know. It's not something I wouldn't say I'm 100%, but I think I've made progress from where we started from. I think that's the important thing.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming to the show, and thank you for loving me and the children, and thank you for finding me. And yes, I heard from God and I followed you.
No. I would want to say thank you for saying yes to God, to be honest.
Okay, that's good to hear.
And thank you for being you as well.
Thank you. And just before you go, we have a little gift for you, just to say thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you so much. And we will see after the show.
I'm sure we will see.
Yes, we will see. So thank you so much, everyone. You heard it from my husband. When we pray for anything, just remember to also listen to what God is saying. And when we pray and it's not going in the way that we want it to go, doesn't mean that God hasn't answered. God is always answering our prayers. Remember, you don't have to put your life on hold, in trying to find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. Thank you so much for watching, and see you very soon. Bye, and bye for now. Bye.
Bye.
I was feeling so sad because I was all alone. Was so bad. And there she goes. She touched my heart and said, Ebezina knows who go. Hey, was so glad. The way she keeps me smiling, it brings me joy. She proves this loving is real. Within my heart there's nobody else. Baby, give me your hand. Let me take you away. Mommy, see the girl I want marry. No time, no delay. After all the things I've been through, I present my love to you. The girl I want marry.